चल जा चल जा चल जा
Hi guys.
Hello, hello Anna, how are you?
I'm just fine. How is it going with your link and Zoom and everything?
Yeah, it's going good, and actually we have to start on time, but at last minute I got to know that another club has scheduled meeting on the same Zoom ID, so I have to arrange another Zoom ID and schedule a meeting. So we are a bit late by 10 minutes, and maybe starting in 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay, awesome. Sounds great.
Hello everyone, this is Mohammed Hassan.
Hi Mohammed. Hi Hassan.
I will be leading today's panel discussion and moderating it. This is my first experience of moderating a panel discussion, so I hope all of the participants will cooperate with me. Thanks.
Absolutely, you will do just awesome. So how many are you expecting to be in this meeting? Do you know?
In this
We are
meeting, we are expecting 25 for 20-25 people.
Okay, nice.
Since our last contest happened of speech evaluation, prepared speech evaluation, in which 19 participants took part in that contest. So we are expecting that our club members will also take interest in this tall tale contest and will participate in this discussion also. So as this is very new to them uh, as compared to the prepared speech or what you say evaluation competition.
So do you have a date when you are going to have this tall tales? You have a date for that?
Yes, January 27th.
January.
January 27th January means next Thursday.
Okay.
And 16 participants have already confirmed to participate in Tall Tales, and 5 more are about to confirm.
Awesome. That is amazing. Well done.
I guess all the panelists have joined. So Moise, can we start, or we are waiting
Yeah,
for
we
all?
can. Yes, we can start. So let me introduce our club member, Toastmaster Hassan Idris, who will be leading this panel discussion. And Hassan Idris has recently joined our club, mainly 6 to 7 months, and he has completed his level 2 and is completely pursuing level 3 of pathways. He has also put his efforts in listening to another education session and drafting questions. So we are looking forward to what he has got today for our participants and audience. So over to you, Hassan Idris.
Thank you, Moise, for a bit introduction of myself. Myself, Mohammed Hassan. I'm an associate chartered accountant from Institute of Chartered Accountant, Pakistan, and currently working as a controller payable at one of the refineries of Pakistan named as Pakistan Refinery Limited. Coming towards the CA Toastmasters Club, my journey started back in 2020 December when I have appeared in the last paper of CA. So afterwards, I joined CA Toastmasters Club and became member, and then I'm in front of you leading this panel discussion. So we will start with the introduction of our panelists. I think yes. Okay, we will start with the introduction of our panelists. And since we have 3 female panelists and 1 male panelist, so I guess I should start with the male first. What do you say? Okay, so our first panelist is Thomas. Thomas, can you share your screen so people can view your Thomas? He lives in Kerala. He is from Kerala, and his master's degree is from Hyderabad Central University, MBA from Pune. Interestingly, he is a secretary of Kerala Tennis Association, an executive committee member of All India Tennis Association. Moreover, he is the member of Enterprising Toastmasters of Palakkad, Kerala, and the district champion of Tall Tales of 2021. District champion of Tall Tale contest of 2021. So, welcome, sir, to our panel.
Thank
And
you so much.
hope we will learn more from you and how to get the trophy. Second one is our guest Anna. Anna is a founder of a new approach coaching. It is an online coaching and training company. She is a trainer by profession and she has a 20 years of leadership career. She is a gold medalist. She is a gold medalist of best wellness coach in Asia Pacific region and international speech champion of Southeast Asia Pacific. So welcome Anna to our panel discussion, and we will hope that we will be listening some great things from you. The next one is Vania. Hello Vania, can I see you?
Hello and Assalamualaikum everyone.
Walaikum salam Vania. I guess you are from Pakistan, right?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So Vania became Toastmaster in February 2020, yes, just before COVID. And she loves meeting people. So because of COVID, she met people online, and she won the Tall Tale Championship of our district, that is District 122 recently. So she is also a champion. And most interesting thing is she loves Harry Potter and she is a Potterhead. Wow. So welcome Vania to this panel discussion. And the last but not the least, the distinguished Toastmaster Arij Jafar. Arij Jafar, can we see you? And can we please kindly check someone's mic is open. Moise, please check someone's mic is open. Please
From I think
facilitate.
Shiva.
Okay, please, as you have the right of hosting rights, you have the hosting rights, so you can mute them. Thank you. Our last guest, our last panelist is distinguished Toastmaster Arij Jafar. Arij. She is a member of Toastmasters organization from 2013 and she is a distinguished Toastmaster. Great. Now he is a project manager of Mohammad Katani World Champion Public Speaking and certified trainer from Bristol Science Academy. He is a motivational speaker and a friendly personality. I wish we can learn very much from her also. So, panelists and guests and our participants, are you ready to learn from these exciting guests and to learn something new
Yes,
about
definitely.
tall tale contest? Because we are having this tall tale contest after a whole year, and many new members of CA Toastmasters Club never witnessed a tall tale, including myself. So, starting from Arij Jafar. Arij, are you there?
I am here. You can hear me?
Okay, thank you. Hello.
Thank you.
So,
Hi.
let me ask you the very first question. What is tall tale? What is the concept of tall tale? And can we incorporate these tall tale speeches in our regular club meeting, or this is just for a contest? Over to Arij Jafar.
Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for having me today. I don't know if I'm facing an internet issues here or it's from your side. I don't know if it seems my internet is unstable. You can hear me? Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
you
Yes,
are
loud and
perfectly audible.
Okay, because it keeps showing to me that it's unstable. Thank you so much. And regarding your question, what is tall tale? Do you remember all when we were kids and we were sit around like our grandmother or grandfather and they start telling us stories? That's not a tall tale. That can be a storytelling. But the tall tale is when we were kids and we were inventing unreal stories. Imagination of a kid that led to so many places, like who took this from this place? I saw the dinosaur coming inside the room and he took it and flew away. That's tall tale. It's something like that. But of course, in Toastmasters contest, it should not be like for kids. It should be similar to that concept, but for adults. Okay, you need to work on such a thing. The timing for it is 3 to 5 minutes in Toastmaster speeches for the contest, and about including it or adding it to the Toastmasters meetings. Why not? If I have a project that can serve a tall tale speech, or I want to deliver any speech and the objectives met with the tall tale contest, why not? Also the club meetings, if you want to add a specific or a special session in every meeting to only tall tale speeches, again, why not? We can do that. Even in table topic, you can have for 1 to 2 minutes, and the idea is tall tale. So yes, it can be done. Why not? Back to you, dear.
Thank you, Arij, for explaining this thing very briefly and concisely. And just was that what I was forgotten to explain all that. Consider this panel discussion as a table topic session, and each question is a table topic, because I know my audience, and I know how to engage them. So I will be throwing questions and expecting these kinds of interesting answers. Okay, so we will move forward to our second question, and my second question will be from Anna. Okay, Anna. So my question is, what is the basic difference between a tall tale contest and a humorous contest? Because we have heard that in tall tale this is all about exaggeration, and when someone exaggerates it becomes humorous. So what is the difference between these, and how can we differentiate it between from international speech contest? Because here also we have a timing and the preparation also. Over to Anna.
Thank you very much for your question, and good evening, dear fellow Toastmaster. And I'm so happy to be here tonight. And The difference, well, first of all, as you mentioned really briefly, it's a difference about the time as well. So when it comes to tall tales, it's about 3 to 5 minutes compared to if you have an international speech contest, which is 5 to 7 minutes. And also if you have the humorous speech, which is 5 to 7 minutes. So what is the difference between them otherwise than the time? Well, first of all, when it comes to tall tales, which I thought the Toastmaster, distinguished Toastmaster Ray, told us very, very nicely about the storytelling. And the speech is also built as a story. It's not built as a speech what we are used to in a speech contest, international speech, or humor speech. When we are used to have the hook, the introduction, the body, and then going to the conclusion. You all know that in speeches, we tell the audience what we are going to tell them. Then we tell it, and then we tell them what we have been talking about, right? So when it comes to the tall tales, it's all about we opening the speech, and then we really build up to a climax, like we telling a story. So the structure is different. And when it comes to a tall tale, so it's all about that having the likable hero in your speech. And then you have a great goal and a problem to solve. But what I see and what the tall tales that I heard that has been really, really great is that you have your own story, you have your own experience. And as you mentioned, you really exaggerate it. And it's really for all Toastmasters to really practice your storytelling skills more than you ever do in a normal, if you say normal, international speech. And in tall tales, if you listen to that, it's always fun to have humorous, and you are able to make the audience laugh. But if you compare to a humorous speech, it's more about having the people, the audience laugh throughout the speech. So the structure is different, the time is different, and the technique is different.
Great.
So I hope that answering your question.
Yeah.
I give the word back to you, Toastmaster Mohammed.
Thank you, Anna. That was a great explanation of the differences between international speech, humorous speech, and tall tale speech contest. Thank you. Now my next question will be for Thomas. So my question is, in judges ballot, 30 marks are allocated to speech development. In a 3 to 5 minute speech, how the participant can effectively incorporate an opening, then build up, then climax, how it is possible, and how means what are the key things you consider it? Over to Thomas.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mohammed. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Well, when you look at the concept of it being just a 3 to 5 minute speech, obviously you will start wondering, how can I have an opening? How can I build up? And then how can I have a climax at the same time, make it look like a tall tale? But I would like to say that, you just consider this as, when you look at a normal speech or your international speech, imagine you are just the captain of a normal Airbus A380. You have to carry your passengers, you have a smooth taxiing, you take off, then you reach your destination, and then you land. You have to take your passenger, you have to give a message to them. That's basically about your international speech or any other speech. But here, imagine you are just a fighter plane pilot. You can just take off vertically, you can do your spins, and whenever the people or the audience are least expecting, you can land vertically also. So it's basically you're taking your audience on a fun ride. That is the critical difference. And what I have felt is that there are no structured patterns that you should have a definite opening remarks for your tall tale. You can immediately get into your story right away. In short, you can literally hit the deck running. You need not build it up, or you need not have your audience on the road as if they are going to be set and they have to expect what is going to come next. Nothing like that. All you have to do is that you just surprise them, have a quick opening, and then immediately get on to your story. And then, just as your fighter pilot does his stunts, spins and all, you can also take your audience on a fun ride. And then when they are least expecting it, you should land it. Because that is how you would make your tall tale really stand out. I hope I've tried to explain it. Thank you, and over to Toastmaster Mohammed.
Okay, thanks. That's great from your side. You have explained that a quick opening, a good roller coaster ride, and then a flash jump. This all are the key crux of a tall tale speech. Now, my fourth panelist, Vania, are you ready for the question? So my question for you is, does the tall tale have a proper conclusion like speeches in other contest, or we can just leave it at a climax or anything else? What should you prefer, or what is your idea about it? Over to Vania.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Hassan. Hello and welcome, everyone. This is Toastmaster Vanya. I belong from Dawes IBHM Toastmasters Club, Karachi, but currently I'm living in Dubai. Thank you so much for that question. There is one very interesting thing about tall tales. It's entirely your game. It's entirely your story. It's entirely your wildest imagination coming into play. Now, you do not necessarily have to have a conclusion. You can leave the audience at a cliffhanger. You can leave the audience wondering what happens next. You can leave the audience laughing, or you can leave the audience crying. Now, the choice is yours. Your story, leaving it on a climax, will definitely leave the audience in awe. Now, when the audience is wondering, you leave them on a stage where they wonder what happens next, or they are in a state of an emotion, anger, sadness, happiness, love, anything. You have won it. You've got it. Your speech has already gained the points that you want to get from the judges. So necessarily, you don't really have to have a conclusion, but leave the conclusion side for the international speech contest, because Tall Tales does not ask for it. But if you're climax, or if you're leaving the story at such a point that it kind of gives an impression of a conclusion as well as throws in a cliffhanger, that's a double cream. That's a double cake. So no, not necessarily. You don't have to have a conclusion in a Tall Tales. And I would recommend, that's what I did, leave it at a point where the audience is either laughing or they wonder what happens next. Or leave them at a point where they think, okay, let's continue the story in my way. What would happen next? So they wonder what would happen next. Now, for example, there are 50 people in the room. All 50 of them will be thinking differently. Yes, you have created your own story and told the audience to create their own from the point where you left off. That's what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you, Vania. That was a great from your side. And well, we will talk about your speech as well. What was your champion speech? Now, my question is for all the panelists, and question is a simple question, that is 25 marks which are allocated for speech techniques, that is exaggeration, surprises, twists, humor. How can you work on these speeches while drafting this thing and while delivering it? Means both the concepts, how we incorporate these techniques while drafting, and while speaking. Over to first speaker, Arij. Arij, are you there?
Yes, sorry, the mic was muted. To work on this, first of all, you need to figure out what exactly the topic or the idea of your speech is going to be. And then you will start putting all of your imagination in that speech, and you can put everything, but don't deliver it as it is. You need to sit with a mentor, a very good mentor that will help you to understand exactly how to write it down, to have all these features that's mentioned in the palettes of the judges. And of course, it's very important. This is something I advise always all the contestants, not only for the tall tale, but for everything. Read the judging palettes, because from there you can start thinking of what the judges are going to give you points for. And it's not only this, like someone can have exactly what the judges want and prepare their speeches like exactly like 100% from what the judges is mentioning in the judging palettes. But if you didn't say it from your heart, you wouldn't reach to others' hearts. So have all these things, yes, work on it with the mentors, yes, but in the end, do it from your heart. Be natural, live the moment, enjoy, with all, of course, these techniques in the speech, in the tall tale speech. My advice to all of you, have all these details, but have yourself inside that story, regardless to like if it needs to be perfect or not. I hope that was answering. I
That
was
was
able to
great.
answer.
That was
Thank you.
perfect. Over to Anna. Same question. How we will incorporate speech
Sorry, I lost you a little bit. It was about the speech
techniques in
techniques.
writing and draft?
Okay, so I must say, first and foremost, that I really loved your answer, Array, if I pronounce it correct, because that is really, really important what you just said, to really read through the judge's guide and ballot, because I know, unfortunately, it's quite many that miss that point. And then they can feel in the end that they are not treated really fair, but really read that. And also to have the story, it's your story, it's your experience, to tell it from your heart. That is so very, very true. And I can't say that enough. And also, as you probably already know, a speech can be so well written, it can be perfect, but a poor delivery can actually make that you lose that contest. You can have a so-and-so written speech, but the delivery can make you win. And that is also something to think about. But when it comes to the different techniques, I was just looking through it myself and looking through the guide, because you always need to do that and repeat it for yourself. So when it comes to, for example, one technique, twists and turns. So what is always good to think about is to think about the rule of 3. And for instance, if you have thinking about the twist and turn in a speech contest, it could, one example be, I just wrote it down an example, so hopefully it will be more clear to you. So there can be that you're saying something like, being a good speaker will gain you a lot of admirers and maybe many men. So that is something you twist and turn in a normal international speech. You know, you say something, the 3 roles, but if you think about the tales, it is different, tall tales, because it could be something that you really twisted. Just an example. So I boarded a bus. I closed my eyes And when I woke up, I was in a different country. You see the difference between that in Tall Tales, you really twist it. So you go on that bus and then you wake up in another country. For example, if you look at an international speech, you have the rules of three, but you know it's leading somewhere. So that is one speech technique that you can be really beneficial to use in Tall Tales. So surprise element is another thing. I was listening to a speech and all of a sudden you started to dance, cha-cha-cha, cha-cha-cha. You know, all these surprise moments, you grab your phone and you have something, you listen to music, starting singing, you know, that could also be a technique that you can use. Yeah, and when it comes to, I was looking to this also with slapstick. Think about Mr. Bean. Do you know who Mr. Bean is? Yeah. So he's using that all the time. You know, when he's slipping on a banana scale and losing his balance. And so that is another technique. So that was some of the techniques. And I hope to clarify those a little bit. So over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your speech was also a tall tale. I felt that I was experiencing a tall tale speech. That was great. Now my question goes to Thomas. Over to Thomas. What is this technique?
Yeah, thank you, Toastmaster Mohammed. I was quite listening to what my previous speakers, both DTM Arich and Toastmaster Anna, they have really hit the bullseye by saying what are the speech techniques that you must bear in mind. And one of the critical things is that when you have your draft ready, and do you really add exaggeration to the draft, or do you try and relate it to certain events, certain happenings, which both you and the audience know? In fact, I felt that whenever we exaggerate, it's best if we can do it when it is related to both your audience and yourself. It will be much easier for them to enjoy the ride when they can know, okay, this is about that incident that happened, which I can recollect. Oh, yes, this is something that has happened. On the other hand, if we are going to say about totally different thing, which probably only you know yourself, then I don't think you will be able to convey that much of fun and twist and exaggerations into your speech. So I feel that the clear borderline is about first your draft, and then you need to ensure that you will be able to embellish your draft with real life instances which people can relate. But then, you know, when you're narrating it, those instances need not be exactly as how they have happened, but somewhere, somehow people can relate to it. In my tall tale, I was able to relate to, you know, three people. One was Bill Clinton. The second person was Mr. Shashi Tharoor. That's a guy from India, and who was, in fact, the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations. So, as well as Bill Gates. So when you relate to people like that, then everybody would have heard about them. And then it's very easy for you to create the theatrics, to create the antics. And one more thing which I did was, I used a prop, and that was a sudden prop that came about because I was supposed to transform to a shrimp. And then when you're supposed to transform to a shrimp, and when you put on a prop or a costume, then that really changes the whole ball game, because then your audience is already visually taken on a different ride. And when you embellish it with your you know, ideas and your thoughts, I think that will really set you on a different plane. Thank you. Over to Toastmaster.
Thank you, Thomas. Sorry, my net was a bit disconnected, so I was away for a while. Now my question moves towards our last panelist, that is Vania. Over to Vania, and tell about something of speech techniques and delivering it while drafting and right delivering. Over to
Right.
Vania.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Hassan. Well, the panelists before me has given some really credible techniques already. They have left barely anything out for me to talk about, but I will try to come up with some different points over here. So, drafting and delivery. Let's take these two as separate things for a while. When you're drafting, take this as the ingredients you are collecting for your speech. And then the delivery is the main dish, how you present it, how you garnish it. So when you're drafting, like I mentioned before, let your imagination run wild. Toastmaster Arid also mentioned that when we were kids and we used to hear stories, when we used to believe that the moon is walking with us when we were in the car. Now, such kind of imagination, bring it all down on the paper. The first and foremost, any speech that I write, the first thing that I do is brainstorm. Just brainstorm on the paper. Whatever ideas are coming to your mind, write them down, because that's the thing with ideas. They come to your mind and then they go. And then you're trying to recall what it was and it's just not there. So carry a small notebook with you and write down as the ideas are coming to you. You can get the inspiration from around you. You think of it, it comes to your mind, it looks good, just write it down. Later, when you are modifying your speech or editing the stuff out or you're making it interesting, you can keep the good parts and maybe the rest of the parts can just stay out. Basically, what I mean is keep the good ingredients in and throw the ones that are not looking good out. Now, the best part, the best you can give is your delivery, how you're garnishing your dish, in this case, a speech. Now, techniques like being funny, including surprises, twists, puns, humor, as I said before, slapstick, really good example mentioned by Toastmaster Anna. Now, even if you think that maybe this is not too funny, I should come up with something else, and you're thinking too hard, but it's just not coming to you, the best thing you can do is focus on your delivery. Even if it's not that funny, but if you're conveying it nicely, putting in the right pauses, giving the right expressions, you'll be able to deliver it very well. A very good point that Toastmaster Thomas mentioned, to be relatable. Now, be generally relatable, not something that just only you can relate with. Be generally relatable. Like, let's say 50 people in the audience, at least 49% of them would be able to relate with it. Like my speech gave an essence of me trying to find a job. Now, this is a stage I think almost all of us have been through, trying to find a job. Like, it's not at your doorstep like that. So now, like that, my feelings, my emotions, they kind of reflected in my speech against something that generally people can relate with. And then the exaggeration, the points, and like I mentioned before, let your imagination run wild, let it run wild. Like, let's just take a quick example over here. I was going in the car, I had my face out, I was looking out, and I saw that the moon is walking with me. Then all of a sudden, it sprung out hands, arms, legs, and it smiled at me and said, "You are getting a job tomorrow." And that's the wildest thought that just came to my mind, and I formulated a story. Now, something like that, make it interesting. Do your best with the delivery, practice it several times, consult with your mentor, and just do your best. And as Toastmaster Arid said, a very good point, have fun. Don't let the pressure get to your mind. Just have fun. Because with tall tales especially, the delivery, the content, and if you're able to relate with it, the audience is able to relate with it. If it can make you laugh internally, believe me, the audience is going to love it too. And you've won it. And it's not just about the audience. In a contest, it's mostly about if the judges like it. So, if you keep it light, be yourself, have fun, you've already earned points. So good luck, everyone. And I hope this helps. Inshallah.
Thank you all the panelists, especially Vanya, for your detailed thing on this main point, that is the speech technique. Now I am coming to a bit smaller part of our judges ballot, that is 15 marks which are allocated to appropriateness of the speech. And my question is for Arij. Arij, what is meant by this appropriateness of speech? What is appropriateness in the speech, and what is the purpose of the speech, how we should build, and should we consider our audience or our environment while preparing our speech? Over to Arij.
Well, of course, like the speech needs to be, if imagine that I am me as Arij, I am from the Arabic region countries, and then I'm delivering a speech related to my culture in a place or an online meeting that's totally no one knows anything about the Arabic culture. For example, like it's not something happened. But do you think that anyone would accept what I'm saying or would be able to follow with what I'm saying? Maybe, and maybe mostly not, right? Because it's my culture and not maybe everyone knows about it. Maybe if I prepared it in a way that can meet everyone, I will still talk about my Arabic culture, but in a way that everyone can understand it, in a way that everyone can adjust it. Maybe that will be an my English is not perfect, by the way. Like it can be great, and the judges would agree with it or accept it, or have it like part of those that one, the 15% in the speech total. So it's always important to prepare something that the people or the audience, regardless judges or not, because the judges at the end, they are audience, right? So it's very important to know who is your audience, not only for the tall tale, but in general, in all your speeches. Know always who is your audience. Imagine again that I am delivering a speech or a tall tale for adults, but my audience are like below 18. That won't be really great. Or maybe I'm doing something that they won't understand because they are kids. Or the opposite way, that if I am delivering a speech, mentioning like talking to a kid's mentality to adults or to grown-up or to managers, no one will accept me, right? So you always need to know who is your audience. Yes, in the contest, we might have variety of people. So you try your best to make it general for everyone, that can everyone and all levels accept your point of view. This is what I feel that they meant by that part, to have it appropriate.
Okay, thank you for
I
describing the appropriateness of this speech. Now, my question will be from Anna. Anna, there's a rule of originality in all the contests. What is this rule of originality and how it is implemented in tall tale speeches? What if two people do something same, or someone can copy any folk or folk stories? How this rule of originality happens? Over to Anna.
Thank you very much for the question, moderator and Toastmaster Hassan. So when you do a speech, no matter if it's humorous, international speech, tall tales, think about it's your story, it's your experience, because it can sometimes be a bit tricky. And what we know and what is the Toastmaster rules is that you can make quotes, you can do references, you can do it as much as 25%. But listen to a speech and you're quoting Romeo and Julia for 2 minutes, I can assure you that you will be disqualified. So you can do the quotes, you can do the references, be very careful to do that, because it can also, depending on the judges and the other ones who is also in the contest. So for instance, let me give you an example. When we quote someone, I guess you all have heard, now I forgot his name, but the world champion who said, I see something in you. but I don't really know what it is. You all heard that, right?
Yes.
And when you say a quote like that, I see something in you, that is a normal. It's a sentence that every one of us is using. So for instance, we can use that sentence, but if we use it in our speech, the two sentences that he's been using, I see something in you, but I'm not sure what it is. That is something that you can be disqualified for. But if you use the sentence, I see something in you, and then you have another sentence, that's okay. And when it comes to quoting or referencing some other speeches or stories, you have to be very, very clear about what that story and what that quotes come from.
Okay, one thing more.
Yes.
One thing more is how anybody can protest, or who can protest. Means the judges can protest, or a participant can also protest.
So the people that are in the contest and the judges, that is the people who can make the protection. No, yes. So that is the people who can do it. And what I also heard recently is that what's important to know is that you can't quote or reference anyone else in the contest. So if you are number 2 or number 3 or number 4, you can't reference the earlier speaker, because then you can be disqualified as well. But
Okay.
I just say to you, and I highly recommend to you that please use your own story, because your speech will be so much better. And it's so much more fun to listen to it, because we want to know more, and we want to, as we heard earlier, you have the experience and the stories that we can recognize ourselves with. Making quotes and taking things from other speeches, it's not the same. So think about your unique story, your experience. That is what I highly recommend. Thank you very much, and over to you, Hassan.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Now all of our questions are almost done, but to mention, we have 2 recent champions of our districts, that is District 121 and District 122 champions. Vanya and Thomas are with us. So now we will hear from them what were their signature speeches that make them champion. First, we will go towards Thomas. Thomas, over to Thomas. Kindly tell about something which made you the champion. What was the theme? What was the content? How you delivered? Any remembrance of that speech? Over to Thomas.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hassan. In fact, we had an early interaction about 3 months ago in a different club. And while my original speech was for 5 minutes and 20 seconds, when I was asked to describe my speech, it took me almost 8 to 9 minutes. So I had asked the moderator whether it will be easier to probably play that speech here itself rather than talk about it. But he said that it's better that I talk about it. Oh, okay. In fact, the crux of my speech was about trying to link the timer cards to a tall tale speech. So what I did was, we are all familiar with the fact that we have a green, yellow, and a red card, and that just comes by itself in any Toastmaster event. So what I did was, I tried to imagine that, like there was a shrimp with a long tail. The title of my speech was The Shrimp with a Long Tail. And I started saying that I was a normal person until I met the shrimp with a long tail. I saw him in a factory near my home, and I visited him the first day wearing a green shirt, second day in a yellow shirt, and the third day in a red shirt. And suddenly I was transformed to a shrimp with a long tail. And there, thanks to this online mode, I was able to just close this screen. And when I opened it, I had the prop of the shrimp on my head. So in about 30-40 seconds, you have a totally different scenario playing out. And then, and then you had the exaggerations coming in. I was transported to the Walmart in the US. And then, one guy called as Bill picked me up and took me home. But I could sense that he was slightly sad. Two things made him sad. One, he was not sure about the direction of his business. Secondly, he was unsure about marrying his fiancée. But I told him, don't worry, Bill. Stop making doors and focus on windows. And yes, marry her. You'll be with her for 27 years. Fortunately, a week before that only, Bill Gates and Melanie had decided to separate. So that was 27 years after that. So I was able to link it up. And then, Bill Gates actually used to make MS-DOS also. And then he decided to stop DOS and start focusing on Windows. So it was like, the shrimp with the tall tail was the guy who told him, one, to focus on making Windows, and two, to marry Melanie. So that was my role with Bill Gates. And then I told him I wanted to go back to India, but he said, no, my friend needs your help. And then he, gifted me to another Bill, one Bill Clinton. And there I was in the White House. And there, Bill and there were, some issues about the family. They were, fighting over someone called Monica. And, all those things are all, suddenly gets back into the it gets back into the audience minds. And then I told him, don't worry, Bill. Why don't you ask her to take your job? And that's how Hillary decided to become the first lady to run for US presidency. Yeah. So Bill was so happy that, till date, the families remained intact. So again, the shrimp has a role there. Then I told him I want to go back to India dearly. And then he said, okay, there's a guy who can help. And he gifted me to a guy called as Shashi Tharoor. And who was earlier the minister in India. And he is now a member of parliament from Kerala. And so he brought me here, but he's well-known author. So I told him, I cannot understand any of the words that he speaks. So you should somehow get me out of this. And in between, whenever the timer shows the light, I say, do I see a green color here? And then next time when the timer shows yellow, I told him, I think the color charm is working. So next time, if he shows me red, then I'll become a human again. And then, so anyway, the poor timer has to show the red card when it is 5 minutes. The moment he showed the red card, in fact, my prop was out. I was in my normal self. And I told him, see, the color charm worked and I am again a normal person, just like you. And most probably, our timer has become the shrimp. That's how I entered the topic. So I think, for a change, I was able to talk about it in about 5 minutes only, the same as the speech that I took. 2 points which I wanted to highlight was, one, just as DT Marid said, when you draft your speech, you have to revise it. And for that, fortunately, in our club, we had a couple of good mentors who were able to spare their time and help you change certain ideas so that your delivery and your speech becomes really effective. The second part is, when you concentrate on your delivery, you must be exactly sure as to where what antique should be played. If you're planning to take it, just like, okay, come what may, I'm sure this is not going to really work in a contest setting. It might work in a club setting, but never in a contest setting. So I was able to, thanks to my mentors, as well as the other friends in the club, all of them gave many inputs as to how certain things can be changed. So I feel when you plan to contest at a slightly higher level, then it's not that you are the single person contesting. It is your story, but there are many people, your club members, your mentors, who would prove to be the wind beneath your wings. Thank you, and over to moderator.
Thank you, Thomas. Now, for very well speech. I mean, you just described the whole speech and great. What would I say? Vanya. Now, Vanya, Your winning speech, I want some glimpses of that. Over to Vanya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Hassan. I am so overwhelmed and in awe by Toastmaster Thomas's speech. I absolutely forgot about what my speech was. Toastmaster Thomas, that was brilliant. I loved it. I wish I could see it sometime, like you performing. That would be great. So if I talk about my speech, well, like I said, take inspiration from around you, make it relatable. That's exactly what I did. The phase that I was going through, I simply implemented that in my speech, not able to find a job and being under immense pressure. Because once you get a degree, the next thought is I'm going to get a job just like that. And it's not that easy. You have to keep on applying, and you know, the process is a little strenuous. And the pressure is even more, it's nerve-wracking. So I kind of included that in my speech. Like I start with, I included, so I belong from Karachi, and Karachi has one of the most terrible traffic situations. So I started with that. I included that the traffic situation in Karachi it's terrible, and it's even more terrible when I have to go for a job interview and I reach there late. And punctuality is like one thing that they see, and I'm late, and that already, you know, makes me nervous and this and that. So I carry on with that, and I say that such thoughts echoed my mind as I lay in bed, and I decide to step outside in the courtyard and take a walk. And as I'm walking, I notice that the weather has gone unreasonably cold. And I wonder, Karachi is not this cold at this time of the year. And all of a sudden, a gust of wind started to blow, shaking the trees as there was seaweed underwater. Now, this was, you can say, a simile. The trees were shaking like seaweed underwater, or the gust of wind started to blow. I did not just say it, a gust of wind just started to blow. Say it as if a gust of it starting to blow, shaking the trees as there's seaweed underwater. Myself even moving as if I were a tree and I was moving like a seaweed. And then everything came to a halt. I say that, and I say that with like finality, as if my speech is coming to a halt. And then I talk about it that out of nowhere, the gust of wind has brought in some good news. And that news is bed isn't like, so Karachi has a public transport, and the public transport is very colorful. You must have seen it. It's the buses are really colorful, and they're amazing. I mean, it's even kept in London in a museum. It's that beautiful. So well, yeah, so one of those buses is right outside my gate, and I see a very strange man stepping outside, like stepping out of the bus in slow motion, with the silver cape blowing behind him, with Air Jordan's X, the Grim edition, the only title meeting his vibe. Now, I did a bit of research if Air Jordan's X, the Grim edition actually exists, and guess what? It did. So that was like some of the research that I did, if it does. So I tried to make that character look very strange, yet someone very attractive that you cannot take your eyes away from. And that person has brought some good news for me. And that news is that I have gotten a job. And that job is none other than maintaining traffic law and order in the city, something that I'm bothered about. And the other thing that I'm bothered about is not getting a job. So I get to solve both problems. And okay, so as my introduction included the part about me being a fan of Harry Potter, and if you've watched Harry Potter or read Harry Potter on the brighter side, you would know that they ride broomsticks in the air. So that is like a childhood dream. Well, not to ride a broomstick in the air, I wish I could, but to like fly. So that dream kind of comes true in my story, as my the person who has come like with the good news, I call him Maestro. Maestro as in master or boss, you know, in simple words. He gives me a box and he says, you will be doing your job while wearing these. So Maestro is Italian for master or boss or teacher. So I obviously had to include the Italian accent. You will be addressing me as Maestro, and I have brought you this. And I hand over the box, like he hands me the box and I take it, and it has rollerblades inside. And those are not just any rollerblades, those are anti-gravity rollerblades. You wear them, you take a few strides, and you are up into the air. Now here comes a very good pun. I loved it. When I thought of it, I was like, brilliant, I'm going to use it in my speech. The rollerblades were powered with rocket science. Now, rocket science means something else, literally. But what I meant in my speech was rocket science so that my shoes could make me go faster. The acceleration would make me go faster. So the shoes were powered with rocket science. And well, we immediately begin. We take a few strides and we were up into the air, going left and right, missing out the electricity poles, going under the wires. And what I can see an endless forest of concrete. Now, what I mean by this is the buildings. Karachi is barely green. It's all buildings, houses, apartments, and just concrete. An endless forest of concrete. So we are dodging the buildings and I'm noting down the traffic violations. And even at that time of the night, the traffic is terrible. And it's so terrible that my phone starts becoming super hot. Now, this is where I've used another prop. My first prop was the box, the shoe box. My shoes, I actually show shoes that are strange. They actually have like a space print on it. So I show those shoes in the camera, and then this is spare phone, of course, not this phone. And it starts to become super hot because I'm so like tagging traffic violators so that the police can catch them later. Becomes so hot that it explodes. And when I say that it explodes, I throw the phone away. It falls on my mattress, so it's all safe. So I throw the phone away as if there was an actual explosion, and I even am tossed at the side. And the explosion was so big that I am catapulted into the sky, and the acceleration has ignited the rocket science on my rollerblades, and I enter the space and I collide with the International Space Station. Everything goes black. What I see around me before passing out is debris everywhere. Now, this is where the pause is. This is where what I'm seeing around, as if I've actually blacked out and the only bits and pieces I can see is the items around me is a mic, a camera, and comms attached to the International Space Station. So I tried to contact Maestro so that he can come and rescue me. And I tried to do that. Maestro, where are you? And he says, girl, where have you gone? He says out of exasperation, and he figures out that I'm in space, and he face palms himself and like thinks this girl can never get a job for a good reason. And here I am, like in space, lost, wondering if I'll be getting a job here now. Now, this shows having hope nowhere, because like the job arrived out of nowhere. So, I can just hope to get a job in space. So I leave the audience at that point. I don't know if they were laughing, they were wondering, oh, okay, that's interesting. That's new. So this is where I left my audience at. And the points where I think my speech had the spice was the Italian accent. And the props that I was using, or me throwing the phone, because even after area contest, the division contest, and the district contest, me throwing the phone was kind of the highlight. Like, people were like, why did you throw your phone? You could have broken it. I'm like, no, that was not my actual phone. That was a spare one. So, something funny, something a little different, outside the box that no one else would be doing, and something that shows you, something that you can relate with, and in general people can relate with. If you are implementing that in your speech, you've got it. And when in contest, just the one thing that my mentor told me, and I have like engraved it in my mind, the point is that don't like make it relatable only to a fewer people. Like, we do not know who our judges are. We do not know who will be attending the contest, because there are people all over the world coming in. So my story, the bus that I'm talking about, mostly people in Pakistan know about it. So I had to change that in the district contest, and I included some other mode of transport, mode of vehicle or whatever, so that the rest of like the judges or people attending from abroad can understand what I'm talking about. So make it generally understandable, make it generally relatable, and just have fun. You've got it. Just believe yourself, have faith, and yeah, you've got it. If you like the speech, believe me, the audience will too. In the end, winning and losing is in the hands of the Almighty. So if you have faith in yourself, if you are having fun, if you inner self believes that, yes, this is the best I'm doing and it's great, you're already a champion. You don't need to worry about anything else. So I wish the very best to my fellow Toastmasters, whoever is present here. And even if someone's not here, I wish them all good luck. And yeah, you all are champions, mashallah. Thank you so much.
Okay, Vanya, we also invite you to our contest, which will be going to held on 27th January, 7 p.m. Thursday. So I also invite you, as you are in Karachi, you can join us in person, and all other participants. We also invite you to join this contest on Zoom. So now, as we have done with all the questions, I am going to give the charge to our audiences. If they have any question, they can raise their hand and ask the question from any of the panelists. And then we will conclude by closing remarks from our VP Education, Moiz Naeem. Over to audience. Is there any question? Kindly raise your hand, or we will go for conclusion remarks
Yes,
from
Moy,
our.
go ahead.
Thank you, Moise, for giving me this opportunity. My question is specifically to Anna. Anna, I would like to ask that does fluency matters in winning the contest? But I would like to ask that two persons coming up with different speeches, but the person who has content and the great fluency, I believe that he would have rather a better chance to win the contest. Please comment on this statement so that I would be clarified regarding this. Anna.
Thank you very much for your question, but I wonder if you please can repeat it because I didn't hear the whole question. I don't know if it was my connection.
Actually, let me repeat for you.
Yeah,
Actually, he's asking about what is the part of a fluent speech, because speech, like you, is our second language, and it's sometimes difficult to attain fluency. So how should we attain fluency, and does it matter in winning a contest that we are speaking fluently?
So if sorry, I really didn't hear properly. So I think it's something with my internet connection. But if I understand you correctly, if I heard you correctly, so is it a question about if it's not your mother tongue, if you're not speaking fluently English? Was that the question?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. So you know what? In my home club, no one is having English as a mother tongue. I'm from Sweden, Stockholm. I mean, I speak Swinglish. My fellow Toastmaster, everyone have different accent. And what I do think is before the contest to really practice about how to pronounce the words, to really practice that, to do the really, really best. I have a mentor, my mentor, he's brilliant in English. He's fluently in English. So he was onto me over and over again when I said it incorrectly, if I used the wrong grammar. But at the same time, think about when you're reading the guide, judge guide, and I think it's such a small few points that actually is when it comes to grammar. So if you say something wrong, if you don't pronounce it 100% correctly, I mean, you can win it anyway. So absolutely, I think that, well, all of us, maybe not having English as mother tongue, and still we nail it, right? So practice, practice, practice. And I just want to say, when it comes to practice and to be in a contest, I do like what I heard that earlier Toastmaster champions had said, that think about it as you're going to share a story, you're going to tell your story, you're going to do it and have fun. Don't think it as a performance, but even if I say so, practice, practice, practice. Think about that. If someone wake you in the middle of the night, you should easily stand up and do your speech. I can guarantee you that my family, my friends, my mentor, everyone knew my speech because I was practicing so much. They were quite tired of me. But, you know, so practice, practice, practice. And also when it comes to the language, I don't think we have so many fellow Toastmasters that don't have English as a mother tongue, and still we can win, and still we can be champions, and so can you. So thank you very much for the question. I hope that was answering your question. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just to mention, the Vanya's imagination of gust of winds are actually blowing in Karachi right now, and many of our Karachi
Exactly.
participants are experiencing it. So I was just relating that.
Yeah.
Any other question from anyone?
Same is the case here in Dubai. It's blowing really hard. There are record-breaking winds. Yeah.
Okay.
So
So is there
I
any other
think we should.
Kantish? Kantish?
Yes, I do have a question, which is, do we have something like we have in evaluation contest, as we are giving topic on that spot, or is it like prepared speech thing? We can prepare from when we have a contest. Can we prepare before a hand, or are we supposed to prepare at the time of the contest? Kindly confirm that.
It's a prepared speech. Tall Tales is a prepared speech. You can prepare it way before the contest.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, in the interest of time, I believe we have to conclude our session. And if someone has any more questions, please let me know, and I will get it answered from our esteemed panelists right through WhatsApp as well. And since today's panel discussion was an amazing and insightful panel discussion, we got to know lots of techniques like imagination, like props, because in our panel discussion, as I have mentioned earlier, that we have about 16 participants who have confirmed in Tall Tales contest. So these can be things that our panelists have informed, that like imagination, like Miss Anna has said Mr. Bean story, and anything like Miss Vanya has informed about how we can use body language, like she used wind and props and mobiles, so that we can stand out with stories like Thomas did with his sham on his head and switching off cameras. And at then Arish has also given her detailed evaluation on her side. So it's a great sort of thing, and I believe our participants have got equipped enough to win a contest, or at least give a tough time to another participant. So with this, before I end the meeting, can I have a word from our panelists? First start from Thomas.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Moines. I really enjoyed being here today, and believe me, I got many more inputs by listening to all of you, and I'm really happy that you're having a contest very soon, and I hope it'll be a rocking contest, and hopefully all the participants would definitely bring the roof down when you have it. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much, and I would also invite you for our Tall Tales contest, since it will be streamed through video also, through Zoom. And another is from Arish. May I have a word from you about panel discussion and for our participants?
Thank you so much. And for everyone who wants to compete in the contest, regardless, of course, still, I'm saying for all categories, not only the Tall Tales, but for all categories, you always need to think before, when you are preparing your speech, is it worth to be said? And then from that moment, to start writing it and see what is the message you want to deliver. Yes, in the humorous or tall tale, not 100% we need to worry about the message, but still it's important to have it there. But always think, if my speech worth to be said, and prepare from that time. Prepare it as that concept. What I want the contestants to do, to know and understand that you win or you lose, you are learning, because here in Toastmasters, this is the real behind it. This is something I'm saying it to everyone, and it's something I invented. It's my motto in Toastmasters. Toastmasters is not a real life. Toastmasters is the place that will help us to improve our real life. So do everything in Toastmasters. Do mistakes. Do lose in the contest, win in the contest, do role plays, because what you are taking out of it, this is what you need to have it inside you so you can have it in your real life. Don't work for Toastmasters, but make Toastmasters work for yourself. Even in tall tales, even in everything. Enjoy your time as much as you can and live the moment and just live your real life as it should be living. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Essentially, it's a basic thing that it's a learning environment, and that's why Toastmasters stands out from any other speaking skills platform, because we are allowed to make mistakes, we are allowed to fall, but at the end, we are not allowed to quit. So that's the beauty of it. That I could summarize it. And another is from Vanya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Muis. And thank you so much, Toastmaster Arij. I wish you had said these words before I contested back in 2020. Because believe me, I used to be so nervous, I could barely sleep before the contests. So I wish you had said that earlier. I really loved what you had said. I absolutely loved it. And about this panel discussion, I was actually taking down notes. So yes, this was a learning experience for me too. I had a great time speaking. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Muis, for inviting me. Squeezing in time for this panel discussion was not easy for me, but I am so glad that I did it. It was absolutely worth it. And I've come back to Toastmasters and to Zoom after a few months. So thank you so much, Toastmaster Muis, for this opportunity. I'm absolutely loving it, being amongst you all, amongst such amazing panelists. And thanks for giving me this learning opportunity. And if I was able to convey any credible technique, I hope someone gets help from it. If I'm able to do that, I'd be very happy. So thanks a lot. Let's do such things again. And I wish all the best to the contestants. Whoever is contesting anywhere, all the best. You've got a champion in you. Bring it out.
Thank you so much. And even we have learned a lot from you. And I was also carrying my notepad to note all the things that I could. And even we will share recordings as well in our social media channels, so that more and more people can learn it well. And last, from our Thailand participant, Ma'am Anna Frumarin. Can we have a word from you?
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Muis. And I cannot say, I say it like all of you in the panel. I also learned a lot, and I see myself as a lifelong learner, and Toastmasters is really the good place, a perfect place to really be able to learn more and more for each meeting, for each contest, for everything I do in Toastmasters. One thing that I thought about that actually helped me a lot, and I was also thinking about that when I listened to Toastmaster Vanya. We are so many that are so super excited, nervous before the contest, right? Or is it only me or Vanya? I don't know. But the 2 weeks before I was on the stage, what I focused on, except for practice, I really worked with my mindset and to visualize that I already done the speech and it went well. So that is a tip I really want to give you, because it's so much about your confidence when you are on stage. And when you are nervous and super excited, it can really block your thoughts. So that is what I strongly recommend you to also think about it. Your mindset, be positive, visualize, do all these different tips and technique, and it will help you. You will be more confident when you are on stage. So thank you very much. I've been learning so much from all of you, and I really love it doesn't matter really if you win or you lose. I can just say that you are a champion because you're doing the contest and you're learning so much by doing that. So I wish you all good luck. I'm so happy and grateful for being here tonight. It was lovely meeting you all, and I wish you all the good luck. But please remember, you are a champion. Over to you, Toastmaster Moise.
Thank you so much, ma'am. In fact, backstage scenarios are very similar for all the participants. All are nervous and all are thinking what's going to happen next. So best of luck to all the participants and including myself, because I am also participating. So with this, thank you. And with this, I am adjourning this today's meeting with so much learning that will help us in making a competition tougher and tougher for our participants competing each other. So with this, I am adjourning the meeting. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Wait, have we taken the group photograph? Are we going to take that?
That's good idea. I haven't taken it right now till now.
So let's take it quickly before we sign out. If every one of us can turn on the camera.
Just a minute. I am taking in 3 seconds. I will take the group photo. 3, 2, 1, and the photo is about here. Done. So we have done with photos, and now we can freely end our meeting. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bye bye.
Bye.